Good morning everyone, and welcome to the May newsletter for Lifestyle and Boutique Optical. May is Macula month, so today we're talking to Ross. Ross actually has macular degeneration and he's kindly offered to share his story with us. Good morning, Ross.
Good morning, Laura.
I see Ross has just been to Dr. Beaumont, his specialist for macular degeneration, and had an injection in his right eye. That's why he's wearing a patch. Normally he wouldn't have a patch. So, Ross, what symptoms did you have when you first had macular degeneration, and how old were you?
Well, in 1983, I noticed a little blip in the parallel lines of anything I was reading. In 1983, I was 34 years old, and it bothered me a little bit. And my brother-in-law is an optometrist, and I asked him about it, and he said, well, you may need to see an ophthalmologist and have a look at the back of your eye. The local GP referred me to a ophthalmologist in the area, and I'd not ever seen an eye specialist before. I'd had a lot of talk about eyes and vision with my brother-in-law over 20 years, and it was interesting what we used to discuss. At this point, I went to see him, and he took some photographs. He took a look at the back of the eye. They had equipment in those days. They could indeed see the retina, of course, and he simply explained to me, you have leaking blood vessels behind the eyes. I thought, whatever is that? And he said, well, we don't know what causes them. So, or what causes the condition. So he sent me to a specialist, a retinal specialist in this case, and he did a fluorescein angiogram, and he located the blood vessels that were in fact hemorrhaging, and he was to do laser treatment. I spoke then to an optometrist friend of mine, another one, who used to work with my brother-in-law, and I could have spoken to my brother-in-law, but he's out of town, and he suggested that in such a condition I see Dr. Beaumont, and made some reference to laser treatment and its after effects and so on. So I came into town here years later now. It's about 1991 by now, and I saw Dr. Beaumont for the first time. He was quite encouraging, but this time I was 42, and he said, your eyesight is good. He said, your vision is quite good for a man of 42. He said, yes, you do have those hemorrhaging vessels. Laser treatment can seal those up, but you do have a black spot in each of the points where laser treatment has occurred. And I was a little bit afraid of a black spot. I didn't quite know what that meant. Of course, it's all very new to me. And I said, I was a bit concerned about that. And he said, well, you don't have to have it yet. So he said, come back and see me in 4 years. I came back to see him in 4 years, and the condition wasn't any better. But he encouraged me to eat lots of coloured vegetables. He said, what you need is the lutein in coloured vegetables, and you need an antioxidant. So he prescribed grapeseed, which you can purchase over the counter, a grapeseed antioxidant from one of the larger vitamin brands, and that seemed to hold the thing at bay. He said, come and see him again in 4 years. He noticed there was some epithelium variances in colour recognition and so on. He didn't see it to be too serious yet, and I went to see Dr. Beaumont every 4 years. Then time went on, and he decided to take a little extra care in terms of the prescriptions that are available that weren't prescription medicine yet. You could go to Black Paws, which are a better quality of vitamin, the whole system available for macular degeneration, and I took that religiously. I watched diet. I kept off red meat as much as possible. I increased my diet of fish and oils and nuts. He said to take a palmful of walnuts every day. That is a natural antioxidant. So I did everything he said over a long period of time, and here we are today. Now things got worse because it is quite progressive, and I suppose here we are now in 2019 19, back in 2013, I went to see him, of course, in the normal course of things, and he simply kept up the medicines, he was able to do a very detailed CT scanning of the retina. He made certain prescriptions to lifestyle, exercise, lose weight a little bit, to get this fluid off the eye. As time went on, he then prescribed a strong diuretic to take the fluid out of my system and out of the retina. And then he began injections a year ago in May 2018. And the injections in my left eye initially, and it seemed to hold the condition at bay. And then the injection the first time in my right eye is today. So he's doing his best, I would say, to keep my vision and to keep the macular degeneration from sending me blind, which is our greatest fear. And of course, stress is one of the prime causes of the defect there in the retinal vessels. And of course, the prospect of going blind doesn't help your stress levels. So you're kind of fighting a battle here where you're working against yourself in a way. So it's not the nicest condition to have, that is for sure. There's not a whole lot they can do about it at this point.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for that. How's it affected your lifestyle?
Well, you can't see as well as you would like to see. You have to increase your prescription of your lenses, which often doesn't necessarily help. Certainly keeping up the medications is absolutely essential. I am afraid that it does restrict you in what you would like to do as a business executive extensively, because your sight is a little blurry.
Right. Have you made changes to your lifestyle because of the loss in vision?
Well, you have to cut back some things that you'd like to have done more of, but not really. We keep a busy lifestyle, busy household life, busy church life, and entertaining, and so family life has to go on.
Mm-hmm.
You just do your best and you see your way through it.
Fantastic. Well, that's Ross. Ross, thank you very much for sharing your story. It's a beautiful story, thank you very much, Ross.
That's
All
a
the
pleasure.
best.
Pleasure, Laura.
Thank
Thank you. Thanks a lot for your help.
Thank you.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.